The soft chime of your phone filled the quiet of your room, and you didn't even have to check the screen. You smiled instinctively, already knowing who it was. Wiping to answer, your best friend's voice came bursting through the speaker like sunshine on a cloudy day. I'm so happy. Can you believe tomorrow is our convocation? We will be wearing those long black coats and hats. Oh my god, how did these 4 years just fly by? A light laugh escaped your lips, warm and genuine. You lay back on your bed, letting the moment settle in, heart fluttering with both excitement and gnawing sense of unease. I know, right? It feels like we just got here yesterday. Everything went by so fast. Junhee's voice sparkled with joy, and the two of you exchanged a few more laughs, reminiscing about late night study sessions, shared meals in the cafeteria, and dreams you used to whisper into the night. Alright, I should sleep early today. Big day tomorrow. Don't be late, okay? I won't. Good night. Night, bestie. I love you. You smiled again, even after the call ended, staring at the ceiling as silence reclaimed your space. But that smile slowly faded, replaced by a tightness in your chest. Because tomorrow you had to see her again, Yuri. The name alone sent a ripple of unease down your spine. The girl who had made your college life a quiet war zone. You had done it, you had graduated. And tomorrow you would be handed the degree that proved you survived. But some scars didn't come with diplomas. Flashback 2 years ago, college bathroom. The clatter of your bag echoed off the bathroom tiles as you fumbled to grab a tissue from your purse. The air was still the kind of stillness that always came before something bad. Then the door creaked open. You turned too late. Yuri stepped inside with her usual entourage, flanking her on both sides like shadows. Her heels clicked against the floor, sharp and deliberate, as she eyed you with the smugness of someone who enjoyed watching others flinch. Well, look, we have here a little Miss Nobody. You froze, your fingers tightened around the edge of the sink, trying to will strength into your trembling limbs. The two girls behind her giggled, their laughter echoing cruelty. I was just leaving. Yuri stepped closer, her perfectly manicured finger pushing against your shoulder. No one asked, and I thought I made myself very clear. Stay away from Jungkook. You blinked at her, heart pounding in your chest. I don't even talk to him. Yuri's eyes flared with sudden anger. Without warning, she grabbed a nearby cup from the counter and flung in contents at you. Cold water splashed against your infant, soaking through your clothes in an instant. You gasped, the chill biting into your skin like needles. Oops, she smirked, clumsy me. Laughter exploded from her minions as you stood there, drenched, shivering, humiliated. Yuri leaned in, her voice as a venomous whisper. Stay away from next time. It won't be just water. Then, just as quickly as they had come, they were gone, heels clicking and laughter fading into the hallway. Your hands shook as you bent down to pick up your bag, water dripping from your sleeves. You wrapped your arms around yourself for warmth, but it did little. Your coat clung to your skin, heavy and cold, but there was no one there to comfort you. You walked home in silence, every step heavy with the weight of unspoken pain. Later that evening at home, you entered quietly, pushing the door shut behind you. The house was warm, a stark contrast to your freeing clothes, but it didn't soothe the ache inside. From the living room, you saw him leaning back on the couch, textbook in hand, his eyes cold and unreadable. Professor John Jungkook, your husband, on paper at least, his gaze lifted lazily to meet yours, expression unreadable. What happened to you? You blinked, water still clung to your lashes, your hair limp and soaked. Oh, I just slipped and fell into a puddle on the way back. He exhaled sharply, closing his book with a soft thud. Careless. His voice was detached, almost mechanical, like your pain was an inconvenience, not something to be concerned about. You stood there, stand for a heartbeat longer, silently pleading for a share of understanding, but no one came. You looked at him, really looked. How could someone who once promised to protect you now look at you like you were a stranger? Your throat tightened, you sniffled quietly, then, without another word, you turned and walked to your room. Your sanctuary from a world that never seemed to care enough. And as the door closed behind you, you let yourself fall apart silently alone. Later that night, the door clicked shut behind you as you stepped into the quiet solitude of your bedroom. The room was dimly lit by the soft glow of the nightlight near your dresser, casting long shadows across the floor. Your body felt heavy, your soaked clothes clinging like a second skin, reminding you of everything you had endured just hours ago. You dropped your bag wordlessly, the sound of the hitting the floor muffled by the carpet. Then, unable to hold yourself together any longer, you slide down beside it, knees to your chest, arms wrapped tightly around yourself. Silent tears welled in your eyes and slipped down your cheeks as you sat there curled up on the cold floor. The pain you had buried deep inside began to bubble up, breaking through your defenses like a rising tide. You had never told Jungkook about Yuri. You had wanted to once. There was a time when you had sat beside him, mustering the courage to speak. But just as the words began to form, his phone rang, and without hesitation, he had stood up, muttering something about work, and walked out of the room. Never once looking back, you never tried again because you understood then he just didn't care. You wiped at your cheeks quickly and rose to your feet, forcing yourself to function. You grabbed a towel and quietly entered the bathroom, the warmth of the shower doing little to wash away the heaviness from your heart. After drying off and changing into your soft pajamas, you stepped out to find him already asleep on the bed. Jungkook was facing away from you, his breathing deep and slow. In the low light, his face looked peaceful, almost childlike. Soft lashes rested against his skin, his lips slightly parted, a lock of dark hair falling across his forehead. He looked so beautiful like this, so quiet, so harmless, but you knew better. He was never like this when awake. When he was awake, he was cold, distant, like the warmth you once imagined between you had never even existed. You sighed heavily and slipped under the covers, turning your back to him. Your thoughts drifted into an uneasy silence until sleep finally claimed you. The next morning, convocation day, university grounds, the sun was warm on your skin and the sky above was clear and impossibly blue. Students bustled around the campus, laughter echoing across the courtyard as friends huddled together for pictures, phones flashing and gowns swirling. You sat quietly on a bench near the main hall, wrapped in your black convocation gown. The square cap sat neatly atop your head, tassel swinging lightly in the breeze. Around you, everyone was celebrating, smiling, hugging. But you sat alone, hands clasped in your lap, heart heavy. Junhee had gone to the bathroom just a few minutes ago, promising to be right back with snacks. You had smiled and nodded, grateful for her warmth. As you stared down at the grass, lost in your own thoughts, a familiar voice pulled you from your wine. Your head snapped up. He was standing just a few steps away, tall and poised in his dark professor's robe. His usual stern expression was softened slightly, though his eyes still held that unreadable depth. Congratulations, you did well. Your lips parted in surprise before a shy smile tugged in your lips. Thank you, Professor. He gave a single slight nod, but before the moment could stretch further, his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen with a subtle frown. I have to take this. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back in a minute. You barely had time to nod before he stepped away, phone pressed to his ear. Then came her voice. You just don't know how to listen, do you? You turned slowly, dread curling in your stomach. Yuri stood just a few feet away, arms crossed, her expression twisted in disdain. Her lipstick was bold, her heels tall, and her eyes blazing with fury. Didn't I tell you to stay away from him? Before you could even respond, her hand flew out. The sharp sting of her slap echoed louder than the chatter around you. Your head turned with the force of it, your cheek burning, eyes stinging with instant tears. I love him, you pathetic thing. You knew that. And today I'm going to propose to him right here, right now. Your breath catch in your throat. Too stunned to move, but before she could say another word, before her poison could pour further, someone yanked her backwards. In one swift, fluid motion, Yuri was spun around, faced with the cold fury of the very man she claimed to love, Jungkook, and then smack. His hand came down across her face with a clean, hard strike. The crowd around you gasped. You clutched your chest, eyes wide in shock. Yuri stumbled back, clutching her cheek in disbelief. Jungkook's voice was low, controlled, but colder than winter. Don't you ever touch her again. Still on campus, the courtyard, Yuri stood frozen, her hand still half raised, fingers trembling where they had just struck you. Her expression was one of complete disbelief, shocked that Jungkook of all people had just slapped her. The crowd around you had fallen into a stunned silence. Some students had even lowered their phones to shock to keep recording. You could feel and your cheek pulsing with heat, but your eyes remained locked on Jungkook. His jaw clenched, his chest rose and fell in heavy breaths, fists still balled at his sides. And then he turned to Yuri, voice like a blade laced with venom. How dare you? How could you touch my wife? Yuri's eyes widened as if he had just spoken in another language. What did you just say? You heard me, my wife. Wine is my wife, and you dare to raise a hand to her? The disbelief in Yuri's face melted into desperation. She looked between the two of you, chest heaving. No, no, this can't be real. You can't be married to her. You don't even look at her. I love you, Jungkook. You know I do. That's why I was going to propose to you today. She fumbled into her coat pocket and pulled out a tiny red velvet box, snapping it open with trembling hands. Inside was a silver band glinting under the sun. Please, I love you. Choose me, Jungkook. I can be everything you need. She's nothing. She is. But her words were cut short when Jungkook stepped forward, grabbed the ring box from her hand, and snapped it shut with a sharp, cold finality. You don't love me, you only love what you think I am. And for the record, if you ever call her nothing again, he leaned closer, voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. You will see what real consequences look like. Then, in front of everyone, without hesitation, he turned back to you and pulled you into him, arms sliding securely around your waist, pulling you close against his chest like he was shielding something precious. You blinked up at him, completely stunned, breath catch in your throat. But your body responded before your mind did, and you wrapped your arms around him in return, slowly, gently burying your face in the warmth of his chest. You could feel his heartbeat, loud, steady, furious, but beneath it there was something else, a desperation, regret, possession. And just then, you heard a small gasp. You turned slightly and saw Junhei standing a few feet away, hands over her mouth, eyes brimming with tears. Wine? Oh my god, I'm so happy for you after everything she put you through. She glanced at Yuri, her jaw tight with long held anger. She bullied you so much she never deserved any of that. Chungkook's head snapped toward her. What? He looked down at you, eyes narrowing. She bullied you since when? Why the hell didn't you tell me why? You looked up at him, finally meeting his eyes fully. There was heat in his voice, yes, but not the cold kind you were used to. This was anger, but for you, not at you. You exhaled, your voice small but firm. Because you never cared, Jungkook. I tried once you left to take a call, and after that I just stopped trying. The weight of your words sank deep into him. You saw it, the flicker of realization in his expression, the guilt crawling behind his eyes. For a long second he said nothing. Then quietly he cupped your cheek, the same one Yuri had slapped, and gently brushed his thumb across your skin, as if trying to erase the pain she left behind. I'm sorry. Simple, soft, but his voice cracked around the words like he meant them in full. You stood there in his arms as the campus burst back to life around you. Murmurs, whispers, gasps, phones clicking, but none of it mattered. You were seen, you were heard, and for the first time in a long time, you were not alone. Later that evening in the bathroom, the soft hum of the light above flickered faintly as you stood in front of the mirror, your shirt draped loosely over the sink, your skin exposed beneath the unforgiving glow. Chunguk was still kneeling in front of you, his breath uneven, eyes fixated on the fading bruises that mapped your body like a language he had never bothered to read until now. His fingers hovered just above your waist, shaking. Why didn't you tell me? Your throat tightened. I tried once, but you walked away to take a call. He flinched at the memory, his eyes shut tightly, jaw clenched, like a words were knives being dragged across his chest. You watched him rise slowly, moving toward the small medicine cabinet mounted on the wall. He pulled it open, fingers fumbling as he searched through the rows until he found a small white tube ointment. His hands were still shaking as he uncapped it. This might be cold. Tell me if it hurts. You nodded silently. Then, with infinite care, he squeezed a small amount onto his fingers and knelt again. His touch was fiddle-eyed as he gently dabbed the ointment along the bruises. His breath hissed when you winced over so slightly at your rib. I'm sorry, I'll be gentle. He took his time treating each mark like it was sacred, like he was asking for forgiveness with every stroke of his fingers. His touch wasn't clinical, it was trembling, reverent, as though he wanted to take the pain onto himself. Every one of these was while I wasn't right there. I lived with your wine and I never saw it. You finally spoke, your voice soft but firm. You never looked. He still, and in that stillness, the truth settled deep between you. He gently finished the last bruise, smoothing the ointment in with a trembling hand. Then he looked up at you, his eyes glassy, guilt carving shadows into his features. I don't deserve to ask this, but will you give me a chance to make this right? But for the first time, you saw sincerity, fear, and love, quiet and desperate, hidden in his eyes. You reached down, brushed your fingers gently through his hair. You can start by not looking away anymore. His eyes widened slightly, like your words had struck between inside him. Then slowly he nodded. No more looking away, no more silence. Only the slow, painful unraveling of everything he had once ignored and the quiet rebuilding of something new together.